And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 200, actually. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And if you are watching this episode of the MSK show on Friday because you missed out on a chance on watching this episode of the MSK show live, then I hope you guys have a great weekend as well. Make sure you guys go out, hang out at a bar, festival, carnival, go out to dinner, go to a movie. But that's the joke right there. No one's going out to watch movies anymore because the numbers are atrocious, actually. So people don't value going out and seeing a movie on the weekends as much as they used to anymore. It's just, oh, I'll just have my girlfriend or wife go outside dressed like a complete skank hoe bag and then have every guy look at her, even though she has a boyfriend or a husband, but she just wants all that guy attention because that's how women are, actually. But in this episode of the MSK show, just in a little bit, we're going to be doing a comic book review on Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2. And we're not going to have the show on Friday, which we usually have a show on Friday together because Warren has to go to work. Damn, a black man working? That's just not what the statistics say, man. But we'll end up, because Warren's leaving next week. So this is our last show basically for a week and a half, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be gone the week after that too.
So after today, our next show for next week, because you're leaving on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
You're leaving Tuesday. So you're not going to be back until the following week on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
I have to work that Tuesday. So literally my first day free will be that Wednesday.
Yeah. And then that Wednesday, I'm leaving after work to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
For the meetup. And we're not going to, the meetup's Thursday, but I want to at least have some time out there in Vegas to just hang out and do stuff, you know. And then Thursday, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming out. That's the day of the meetup. We're going to check out of the hotel, hang out for most of the day, go to the meetup. And then I'll be back Friday. But given how the time frame that I want to be back between 10 to 6 or 11 to 7 that Friday, I'll be coming home around maybe 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And I don't know if I'm going to be alive to do a show at that point. So
no, you're going to be dead. So.
If I somehow survive that and I'm still able to do a show, that's crazy. So we'll maybe put a pin in it for April 18th. As a maybe with an asterisk, but if not, our next show won't be until like when you come on the panel show Wednesday, April 23rd, and then we just resume things on the week of the 23rd. That's crazy. Don't worry, guys. I have some one-on-ones to do on these days. We're not going to have shows, so we'll be okay. And taking some days off from the show is not that bad. Like, because keep in mind, we basically have episodes of the MSK show going Monday through Friday, actually. And then now, if you guys don't know, on weekends, because it's just hard to get a panel or a show like that going on the weekends, because the weekends people usually are out mostly on Saturday. So you guys have episodes of the MSK show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and mostly Friday, depending on when Warren doesn't have to work. So on Saturday and Sunday, if I don't have any like one-on-one scheduled, you'll pretty much just get me playing League of Legends on Saturday. We have the Cloud9 podcast on Sundays, running when this League of Legends season's going on anyway. So you'll have that. So you will have shows coming out from the channel on the weekends. It just won't be the MSK show unless it's a scheduled one-on-one that I've already previously set up, honestly. So yeah, we're now officially at 200 episodes, and Laps Comic Fan asked me this. He was like, "You gonna celebrate on an episode on like when you get to like that 100 milestone?" I'm like, not really. I mean, people don't know I've had was the Real Takedown, it was the Nightwing podcast. We had like an Illuminati podcast. We had a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. We had a Batman podcast when that was just separate from the panel show. That was just one-on-ones. And then we pretty much just kind of like lost all that when I lost my main YouTube channel. So we ended up just having like the Iron Man podcast, and I messed up synergizing that with like this YouTube channel. And when I got like 600 episodes deep in, I was like, you know what? I'd rather just have everything in one place, all there in order, so everyone can kind of follow it simultaneously. So I ended up pulling out a DC all-in moment. I'm all in on this show. This is my last attempt at this, and I'm all in. And we're at 200 episodes now, and that's awesome. You know, you guys enjoy the show. You guys watch the show. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. But there's no celebrations that I need to have happen because that's just distraction stuff. We need to just be putting our head into the sand, and we keep doing what we're doing. You know, the celebration episode I want is 500, like I did it with the Iron Man podcast, and that's a good night celebrational moment there. And then basically after like episode 500, we're not going to celebrate again until episode 1000, and obviously hitting like 1000 episodes would be a big milestone because that's my ultimate goal. But the goal for the show, like I mentioned before, was just hitting 300 episodes. That's it for this year. If we get anything past 300 episodes, that's awesome because leading into 2026, we could just basically just go further and further to getting to that milestone. But literally having a show 5 days a week, plus maybe some one-on-ones sometimes on the weekends whenever I can do them, or maybe me and Savage Dad do some shows on Sundays sometimes, very rarely. It'll always just add in, you know, here and there over time. You know, because keep in mind, guys, we're just in April right now, and we still have May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We still have what? Fucking how many months left? Like 8 months left into the year?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, keep in mind, all those weeks, all those days still left. Yeah, there's a lot more episodes of the show you'll be getting. And, you know, I just kind of prefer just reviewing books on here and then clipping that shit out for the comic book channel that I have. And we do topics like the mainstream stuff too, so I get to have that as clipped out content here. The only pre-recorded videos I do is just a comic book market watch. That's the only pre-recorded content I do. You know, I'm thinking about doing some of the episodes live here. I wouldn't have it all set up like tab-wise because that would kind of like hurt the stream's performance. But I used to do that on the Yu-Gi-Oh podcast and chats. We used to do a market watch just live when my computer wasn't basically just a pile of shit. I have a new PC now, which James helped me get. So that'll be in very, very soon. So yeah, a lot of great things happening here. I am sorry about the pre-recorded content that we've already did on the streams, not coming out consistently. I just have to edit it and put it out. That's it. It's really all it is. It's done. Warren's been on a lot of the episodes. Last night we had a crazy back and forth discussion on the John Boyega shit. Oh my God, Walter!
Yeah, that one got crazy.
I'm just saying though, I like Walter. I do, but man, was just Walter. When a person says they're a piece of shit, it's probably a good idea to just believe them that they're a piece of shit. You know. Like
he was just he's a Bodega fan. He was just trying to defend him, and I mean, and he was making some good points too. But what Bodega was doing was undefensible. Indefensible.
Yeah. But how was your day, man? You get any further into the adventures of Sig and Joe?
Yeah, I got 2 more pages penciled. I was supposed to work one of my 2 jobs today, but I called him up and told him I was going to take a day off because I burned the hell out because I got to work doubles all weekend and. It's going to be a lot. It's like essentially they're working me every day until I leave for my vacation, which is this convention. So my going to comic convention is going to turn into a nice little 5-day vacation for me. But yeah, I've just been working on getting everything ready for that, packing, getting oil change in my car, stuff like along those lines, getting everything all set. I'm excited though. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to take a lot of video while I'm there too so I can start putting some stuff up on my channel.
Oh yeah, you know it's good that when you ever go to these events like we're gonna go to, it always kind of like reinvigorates you to just keep pushing forward. Like the internet could be such a wild place, let's just say, and like some days it feels like, God damn, is this all I have to interact with these crazy fucking weirdos every day? Like every day.
Do you goal set? Like, do you have your own? Like, you do a lot of work. You're streaming like 6-7 days a week. You're editing product, and you're also working a full time. How do you keep yourself going? Do you have small goals that you set up, or is it always just driving?
The small goals are there. Yeah. To be fair, I'm being honest here. This channel doesn't really grow in subscribers anymore, as you probably noticed. And people have asked me, like, do you care about that? I don't, because I told people this. We already hit the benchmark to get money and monetization anyway. I think that's an achievement in and of itself because, most channels flatline anyway because most people give up on it. That's all I wanted, was just getting to 1,000 subs on this one. That's all I really wanted. And we have like 80 plus more than I asked for. So I think that's good. It's if that's on a YouTube front, I can't really help with that. I'm going to just keep pushing through it because, I don't know. I thought about it. That thing you asked for, I thought about it at work a lot of the times. I just love doing it so much. I don't ever want to stop though. I just love doing it that much. That's my drive and fire. I love doing it. I couldn't see myself doing anything else but this in my free time most of the time, you know? And people said, like, if you don't get paid for it. It's like, well, I don't do this for money. That's why you have a job. I have the job for the money part. This won't pay. I don't care if it pays, you know? Also, I wouldn't want to put all my eggs in one basket in YouTube, because if they ever demonetized you, then I don't get paid. And that would be very bad. Then I would have to go sell crack or rob a bank or something.
I'm the same way with comic books. I mean, I love doing it all my free time. So it's like I enjoy it. Like, this is not doesn't really feel like work, spending all my free available time working on it. And I also too I don't do it for the money. You know, it's like I'm not making any money on it. So obviously I don't have a problem with it because I'm still putting in the work. But it's I have the same way though. It's I really love doing it, so I just keep pushing and no matter what, it's just like I'm going to make comics, whether no one reads them or whatever.
Yeah, and I told people, I'll read yours and Vaughn's and all that stuff, but it's just, you know, we have like the structure that I like to have when it comes to this stuff, you know, because I usually like reason why I don't really typically read comic books in my free time most of the time is because I like reading them before the show to make sure I have a fresh viewpoint of it, because, you know, I don't want things to collide in my head like they used to. Back when I used to watch so much shit, it would all collide together so much I could barely tell the difference between most shit anymore. And I don't want that happening anymore. I was watching, guys, movies and television at a rate all of us were doing it. And it all felt like it just got collaged together in our brains. Like it all was just clumped up clay, just matching together. You really couldn't tell the difference between what one show was versus what the other one was doing, because you were just watching them such back to back and such concession. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to have that anymore. I feel like I do a disservice to myself if I read that much shit together. Like when it came to like Bug Wars and shit like that. Some comic books I can read and I can just retain it all in my brain. And I mostly retain it all in my brain. But if I read books back to back and we don't really go over them, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you start mixing, matching everything up all. Yeah,
that's why, you know, slow and steady wins the race. You know, I told people we're gonna get to indie comic books here. We're gonna get to them. You know, but it takes time. You know, people gotta wait their turn because there's plenty of other books I want to get to first. And keep in mind, I've read enough indie books to the point where it's like, you know what? Let's be honest here. That shit's mostly amateur shit, and that shit's gonna need its own way of breaking it down.
I make indie comics, and I understand no one wants to watch a review of an indie comic. Like,
they don't.
They don't. They want to see the main stuff.
Dude, people will say things like, oh my God, but Invincible's indie. Yeah, until it wasn't.
Yeah,
keep in mind, if you read Invincible comic books, which I know most people haven't, I've checked in on them. They're very good. They're very, very well illustrated, you know? Or like Walking Dead. Walking Dead became mainstream, but when you actually check the comics out, pretty good from the stuff that I've read a little bit, you know, stuff that I know about the comic books. It's very well done for the most part. I have the compendiums over there. I have to get the third one. Actually, you can get them off Amazon for like less than $20, honestly. You know,
the artist that did like most of the first run, first couple arcs was really, really good. I forgot his name.
Oh, it's the same. I know Robert Kirkman used he didn't use a colorist for Walking Dead. He had that drama with that one colorist on Invincible, from what I remember. But yeah, it's just, you know, I told everyone, just wait your turn. If I told you I'm reading your book, I told you I'm gonna do it. But I never gave you a time frame on when I was going to do it. That's the thing. I never give a time frame. I'll get to it when I get to it. It's just, if you guys can look at my shelf over here, look at my shelf over there. Like, I even want to do reviews by myself sometimes because I want to get stuff. I want to get more books read and want to get more books reviewed, like I did with Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run. But I had to take a break after reading that volume 1 because I'm like, damn, if this is as good as it is, it's probably going to start tanking a shitload after this. But I'll be honest here, that's probably about as good as it gets when I read that first book, and we know it's probably downhill from there. And speaking of Spider-Man, Marvel Comics just can't help themselves with the ads in these books. God damn, was this book back to a retread of the same ad bullshit that I talked about in other books. God damn. When this book first started, and it's not bad. It's a very intriguing story so far. Before we get to the review, ad after ad after ad, man. Are you serious? Marvel, this kind of stuff is cool. People always think I hate ads. I don't always hate them. I think they're just misplaced most of the time. Ads need to be in the back of the book when the book is finished. You do not need to be in my immersive mind when I'm trying to concentrate and pay attention. Like, literally, look at this. So you have like the maker appear, ad. The maker leaves. Double page spread.
Yep. 2 more story, and then add again.
Put that shit in the back of the book, man. People are, but that's how like black people were in the back of the bus. You know what? I'm black and I go to the back of the bus. So fuck off with that. So good Lord, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's other things that I want to get to as far as like comic book wise and reviewing stuff like manga. I want to start reviewing too. People have asked me for manga. It's like, guys, I love manga. I grew up with manga more than comic books. So of course I want to review manga. Just got to give me time. We'll get to it. And when we get to it, you're going to like it. Because you guys know we give out very thorough reviews here. And it's not like I intentionally want them to be like 30 minutes plus. I just want to make sure when I think about the reviews that we do, or we and Savage Dad do, or me and Laps do, I want them to be kind of like, when you think about it, when the review's over, did you say everything you wanted to say? Because I'm not trying to be here giving out 10-minute review, just speed running my thoughts. I feel like that's not super informative if you're going to talk about a medium like comic books. When I'm at work, I want to think about, I put out that video, I said everything I wanted to say, and I got everything I wanted to say out, and that's how good I feel. I feel better when I can voice all my thoughts on something. Because have you ever had that when you see like videos and shit like that, or if you did videos, like you feel like, damn, I really wanted to mention that, but you did it, and you're like, fuck, I didn't get a chance to. I hate that feeling. I wanted to stop that feeling, and the only way of stopping that feeling is the content just would run longer. And I'm not trying to we don't add fluff here. We're going through the book. We're talking about how we felt at certain moments, certain page spreads, art, everything. Like I don't mind 10-minute videos. If people want to do 10-minute videos, it's fine. I do 10-minute videos myself sometimes. But when it comes to this, I couldn't talk for 10 minutes and get all my thoughts out.
You'd have to write out a script and essentially just read the script so you stay right at the 10 minutes. Because it's hard to freehand that, and you forget stuff like you mentioned, and then afterwards you're like, oh shit, I forgot to add that part. And it's much nicer to have a free-flowing conversation about this stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like when you review comic books, like reviewing them with you guys is even better, because you guys could catch stuff that I didn't catch. Like you caught that Colossus thing that I missed last time. It's a very good catch. Sometimes I'll review books on my own, and I did it before, but you guys like it this way too. So it just depends on what we have in common as far as like books we own, and then we just kind of go from there. So we're going to be getting into this here, and that's the only topic we have for the night. Once that's over, we just talk a little bit longer, and that's it. So, damn, this is going to be our last show together until literally the 23rd. God, man. So he's gone all next week. We'll have the show with Savage Dad Wednesday, presumably. The panel show will be with me and Gray. I'm pretty sure Cyfax will be on Wednesday, depending on if he's free. Thursday, with the Cloud Night podcast anyway, and I have one-on-ones that day anyway to cover for that. And then Friday, I just stream League. I don't care. And then next week, you're back, but it doesn't matter because I'm gone. We technically won't have a show until the 18th at the latest, at the earliest, and the latest will be the 23rd. Damn, the month's gonna be over. I feel like this month is almost. This month's gonna go by fast.
Year's already going by fast. I mean, Jesus, we're already
in
at the halfway point,
right? Yeah, we're already in April. Holy fucking shit! But I'll be honest with you guys. Before we start the review, this is, I think, Marvel's second best book on the market right now compared to Ultimate Spider-Man. Because wait, I was saying, I don't know what kind of paper they're using for this one. This one felt good. I don't know. This one felt kind of good.
I mean, I can't say anything about Ultimate X-Men because I haven't read it. But out of the other ones, I've read Ultimate Black Panther, I've read Ultimate Spider-Man, and this one is definitely number 2. It's not better than Ultimate Spider-Man, and this one was a little bit of one of those setup chapters.
Yeah. It wasn't at least absolute bad, Wonder Woman setup where it's just kind of it feels like it's slogging. This one setup felt intriguing for some reason. Like I don't mind comic books that set up. I don't, but there has to be some level of intrigue there. Like this one felt intriguing by how they were talking, how the experiment was going. Absolute Wonder Woman setup was more like, oh, okay, this is kind of like a slice of life book. Yeah. But it wasn't bad. It's just not as intriguing, This
is going to be really nice to read in a trade format. Like once it gets there, because when you don't, because they won't have as many ads, and it's a very kind of smoothly fast-paced story where it's almost like when you do get 3, you want to go back and read 1 and 2 real quick, and then hit up 3, and it's because it's moving. I have a lot of questions. I'm like, who's this? Who's that? Oh, come on now, So it's very interesting. I like it.
All right, I'm going to get to the main bread and potatoes. That's not even a thing. You eat bread and potatoes, that's a terrible combination. I love potatoes, but eating bread with them, bleh. That would be not good. It's like when people
sandwiches.
It's like when people eat like when they put mayonnaise on their chicken. That's gross. That's actually disgusting. Who does that? I'm not kidding. Someone did that.
French fries are bread and potatoes. No, actually, it's because you bread them and then you fry them. So yeah.
The more you know, actually. My hopes. Oh my god. He's trolling us. All right, let's get this banger going. Oof. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever we upload your mom's pussy.
Strike one.
Strike one. Brain completely fried. It's okay. We get always that one strike. We always get it. We always got to do 3 takes. If you guys don't know, for Comic Book Market Watch, I'm doing 15 takes to get those videos rolling. I'm not kidding you. When you see the final product, I know this. I did 15 takes. I didn't do that shit in 1 take. I didn't do it in 5. I did this shit in 15 takes. I'm not kidding you. And then by the time it's over, I'm just like, oh my god, I finished it. Gosh, man, I'm not shitting you. If you guys think it's bad, here, 15 takes on 1 video. These videos are long as fuck. The first episode is like 50 minutes. Second one's an hour. This one that's coming out tomorrow, guys, for you on Friday, that one's 45 minutes actually. There's so much to go over in these videos. It's insane. Even in weeks where there's like 3 books that I'm pulling, I could just go on for hours. But the watch time of the videos is great. People just be watching the whole thing, which is good because whenever the channel gets monetized and ever gets like the monetizable stages, that's gonna be great. But yeah, let's knock it out of the park. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2. So I highly recommend you guys go and check out our Ultimate Wolverine number 1 comic book review. That way you guys can understand how we feel about that issue compared to this one. So I really enjoyed Ultimate Wolverine number 1. Personally, for me, when you guys see this type of video later on in the year, like when I'm doing like my top 10 floppies that I read for 2025, if I ever do that kind of video later on this year, you're going to see Ultimate Wolverine number 1 in that list. I had a blast reading that book. I was thinking about it, today before we did this video. And when I was at work, I was like, man, I've really enjoyed Ultimate Wolverine number 1. Like, it had that Cold War thriller espionage setup. It felt like it was in a area where you had like this kind of aspect where he's basically like, dropped off. And wait a minute, hold on. My brain fried again. Yeah! They're doing crack! Hold on, there's a crackhead outside. I'm not kidding you. There was a guy looking in neighbor's car. If he was gonna do something, oh, knock that fool out. In Minecraft. Okay, 3rd time's the charm. We're getting it done. All right. Fucking fire crackheads in this neighborhood.
Crackheads are everywhere.
Hate it. All right. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our Ultimate Wolverine issue number 1 comic book review, I would highly recommend you guys go and check out our Ultimate Wolverine issue 1 comic book review. That way you guys can get to see and understand how we feel about that issue compared to this one. Because the reason why I always mention that in videos is because the way someone would feel about one issue compared to some of the follow-ups might be very different. So you can basically see, like, if we do like other series as well, okay, they like this issue for these reasons, but this one may have not hit that same. That's why, just as a FYI, I bring that up in every single video, because there are people out there that might not have even known we maybe uploaded a review for the first issue of a comic book series that we are reviewing. But nevertheless, if I do this type of video later on in the year for the channel, like my top 10 comic book floppies that I read and reviewed this year, Ultimate Wolverine would definitely be up there in the top 10. That book was so fun to read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had this like Cold War espionage thriller kind of setting. The way that I will say that image of Wolverine looking at, like, basically doing that fourth wall break where he's in the plane at the end of that book and he's looking up compared to everything you saw. Oh my God, that has to be, I'm not kidding you guys, that is one of the best endings to a freaking comic book that I've read in forever, man. And just the way the story felt, the way that the backstory is somewhat kind of explained, and it's a little bit more explored here as well in this issue, where he was programmed and you got the interactions from Nightcrawler, and you had that happen where he was saying, oh, we kind of, almost came back to save you, but this ended up happening. The way that he killed off Nightcrawler and Mystique, I thought was really cool. The way that he ripped through everything. Oh my God, if I don't get ratings anymore, I'll be honest with you, because I think it's, people only kind of watch reviews to get the ratings. If I had to rate Ultimate Wolverine #1, that's just a 9 out of 10. That shit was such a fucking banger. The only issue I had, which I mentioned in the review, where I felt like some of the villains set up there was just kind of lackluster. But I feel like that issue is a little bit more fixed in this one, minus a few other things I want to bring up here. So issue #1, absolute banger. I do recommend you guys try the series out. I think this is Marvel Comics' second best series on the market right now as far as Marvel Comics. Ultimate Spider-Man, as you guys know, I read that first trade paperback. I have the second trade paperback. I did order it. It's here. But that's the best comic book I've read all year, so I don't think anything's beating that. But this one is right there with it. I think this is also very, very good. It basically does kind of what I wanted, like, the DC Absolute books to do in a different way. So, like, as people know, I personally think Ultimate Spider-Man is better than Absolute Batman. I think it's just a much more better book. And I feel like the aspects that they changed in Ultimate Spider-Man work better than some of the changes they've made in the Absolute universe. Like, some of the things they took away from some of the characters just didn't really feel like they ever really did, and they kind of felt that was just a marketing scheme. But I feel like when Marvel Comics got a chance to change stuff up for their alternate universe, I feel like their approach is a little bit more better, in my opinion. I like the way that he's still Wolverine, but you can still tell it's Wolverine in the aspect you like. Whereas with some of the Absolute characters, some of their stuff is taken away, but it's like, why? These are like, this doesn't impact anything.
Yeah.
Like when we read Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, it never felt like the stuff taken away from them really impacted how they do things.
Yeah. And what was interesting about Ultimate Spider-Man was that they really gave Peter Parker everything. Like Bruce, they took away his butler, his money, Superman, his family, and his adopted
Krypton's
parents.
gone. Yeah.
Krypton. Wonder Woman took away the Amazons, and now she's in hell. With Ultimate Spider-Man, they gave him Mary Jane, they gave him his family, they gave him his uncle, his aunt died of natural causes, I believe. So it's almost a reverse. They gave him everything, and he still chose to be Spider-Man. And I think that was really an interesting story, because you have a Peter Parker who has a full support system, who is developed, he hasn't gone through all this trauma, and he is still choosing to be the good, going into the fight Spider-Man. So it really is. I think I agree with you. I was going to go with Absolute Batman, but Ultimate Spider-Man is just really better. Really good.
Yeah. Even if you just compare like the first arcs, actually, just issues 1 through 6. Well, I read issues 1 through 5 for Absolute Batman. I haven't read issue 6 yet, so that might change depending on when I read that last issue. But if I'm just going off the first 5 issues for both, or the first arcs, Ultimate Spider-Man's better. And like if I had to compare Ultimate Wolverine to Absolute Wonder Woman, I don't. We're going to be 3 issues deep in this, coming up very, very soon.
Yeah.
I think this is stronger, in my opinion, than Absolute Wonder Woman. I think the storytelling's better. I think the action's better. The dialogue's better. Like, you just care about the characters more here based on like how they're interacting. So what's really cool about this issue compared to the previous one is we got a little bit more intrigue in how Colossus, Magic, and what's the red guy's name? Omega Red are interacting with being the villains of this mutant group that basically want to capture mutants to basically utilize them for their own gain. And then I feel like that was a little bit more better explained here than it was in book one. Book one, they're just kind of there, and you're like, oh, okay, this is like the villain group. There's nothing really explained there. That's my only knock on the first book. But in this one, they picked it up, and the villains are the focal main point of the book, which was, I think, was awesome, because you really got to see just how ruthless Colossus really was and how ruthless like Magic was. Omega Red, I think he needs a little bit more. That's my only real critique. Is if you're going to use Omega Red, can he be more than just, I talk in this really sinister, kind of cringy way?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
it would have been nice if he was more active, a little bit more active on some of this stuff. And he might be in the future too. But it's one thing different with Wonder Woman. It's like there's no villain in Wonder Woman, absolute Wonder Woman yet. No real villain. We're not like, where's Tigress? Or we don't really care about her side cast. And the ones that they did bring in, it's just like, okay, cool. Steve's there. That's great. But then with this one, I'm like asking myself, okay, when Colossus mentions we have a telepath, well, which telepath is that? Is it Jean Grey? Have they captured Xavier? Is it Emma Stone? I mean, there's Emma Frost. I mean, there's a lot of people that could fit that role. So there's a lot more intrigue in this, a lot better build-up. I'm much more sold into it. Even with the second issue, maybe might have been more what you could call a setup. It was done a lot better than what Absolute Wonder Woman's second episode issue did. So yeah, this is we were mentioning earlier. I think this would be a much better read in a trade without all the fucking ads in it. But it's just littered with ads in the beginning and the middle, or in the end. They give you a nice little chunk in the middle, but then it ends with like page ad, where you're trying to, okay, I want the impact of the ending, and you guys are ruining it with Deadpool ads and shit, So
yeah, I think if you guys do have this and you read it as a single issue compared to seeing it in a trade, the ads, good lord, and people know I have the biggest issue with ads. Even when I first read like Eric July's first comic book, ISO #1, the ad placements in that I did not like, and I don't like it when DC and Marvel do it. Like, literally, if you're reading this, you're really intrigued. It's a really intriguing story. You like what's going on. You're like, okay, it's mystery. I love it. Ad. I'm not kidding. Literally in the first 3 pages, just ad. After a big thing happens, like there's a big moment that happens in here. If you actually read Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe #1, then after that, you see the big moment. You're like, all right, cool. Let me get this moment. Let me get a chance to feel this moment. No, you get this double page spread for the Amazing Spider-Man #1 coming up, written by Joe Kelly and Pepe Larraz and art by John Romita Jr. And when DC does this, at least I think DC has better placements with their ads, and the same thing with IDW too. In the Image Comics, Marvel is the worst at their ads. Like, this is better at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Marvel, I don't know if you're retarded. Everyone and their mom loves Spider-Man. He is going to sell no matter what. And the idea, I won't go off on a tangent, the idea of relaunching this to a #1 makes no sense because the book never falls out of the top 10. It very rarely even falls out of the top 5, if we're being honest here. So the relaunch is stupid. I like this. This is a cool image. I think a cool image is fine. Like, John Romita Jr.'s art leaves a lot to be desired in his elderly age at this point. I think he's just doing it for a paycheck from Marvel. But that kind of thing just needs to be in the back, because then the immersion happens again, and you give it another ad. That's like 3 ads in the last 6-7 pages, and that's the best moment of building up that tension in the book, that intrigue, that build up, that suspense that you like. Stupid. This is terrible. And that's not the book's fault as far as the story. It's just Marvel's editorial team is just, oh, fucking hell, put an ad there. They're gonna buy the book, those fucking peasants. It's like, god damn. But outside of that, we're gonna go through most of the book now. So I think you will better understand how this villain group works if you guys actually read this. If you read this excerpt right here, that's going to be a lot better. So essentially, the villain group is Colossus, Magic, and Omega Red. They essentially have become one of two places in the world for all of known mutant activity. The trio have created Directorate X, a secret division of the government that seeks to exploit the unique genetic powers exhibited in mutant kind, headed by Dr. Alnya, like Alnya Prestovich. So that's who they are. They're the Directorate, and they also conjured up how to basically, put out this Winter Soldier, which is Wolverine as well. So those are the main group right there. They're the Eurasian Republic. Oh, no. Rules try to... Okay, I think... Yeah, they're called Directorate X, and they're located in the Eurasian Republic.
Yeah.
These names... Eurasian Republic. Good Lord. Fucking names, man. Marvel, Jesus Christ. So you have Directorate X, Colossus, Magic, and Omega Red. And they have this Dr. Prostovich, who basically does the science and the experiments on the mutants that they bring in and capture, and they need this Winter Soldier Wolverine to take out a bunch of their opposition. So that's essentially the easiest way of explaining it. And they even give you the picture right there of the main group of the villains. So essentially kind of think of them as like the Brotherhood of Mutants, essentially. And what I really enjoyed in the book was you really got to see just how ruthless Colossus really is. Like, holy shit, this guy is just going off the deep end.
Oh,
so you start the book off with one of the, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is this one of the people that was programming him in book 1 from that past that we saw? I think. I could be wrong. But it starts off with one of the doctors that we kind of thought we saw in the first issue. And then you get the Maker. The Maker is here. He comes out. And you guys are like, the Maker, he's still alive? Yeah. The Maker essentially didn't die after that big battle at the end of Ultimate Invasion. You just don't see what happened to him. Like, you learn that basically Kang and him were fighting this like multi-dimensional war, and he shot his eye through or whatever that happened in that. The Maker's here, and he's definitely got something that he's planning on doing. We don't know what it is. And then he just kills the Doctor by putting his finger in his mouth. Pause. No homo, actually. Kills him. And then because the line is that basically the professor says there's no such thing as a perfect world. And, the professor's like, he tries to pull out a gun. Maker kills him, and he says, "You see, Professor, I'm making a better world, and a better world is the one that you're not in." Like, and the Maker just leaves. Like, I was surprised. I did not expect to see the Maker come out after what had happened in Ultimate Invasion, and the good old fucking Marvel ads. Can't wait to have those. So then you get to understand what's happening in this scenario later on in the book. So you see these soldiers, they're in this place where they have to basically hunt something. You can tell they're hunting something, because whenever you see these images, you can tell that just they're hunting something, or they're going after something, or trying to capture something. That happens in like every media and ever when you see that kind of situation. But you know what? Fuck me. There's another ad, because just fuck me, right, Marvel? So then you get this other image of them looking up, and you see Ultimate Wolverine right there. And then you get the backstory on what they're doing with their organization. That is a beautiful shot right there. Yeah. It's great, really, actually. Well.
That's a poster.
God. Yeah. Ultimate Wolverine jumps out to attack them. And then just like I said a second ago, you start getting and understanding the mindset that goes into Colossus and Magic and Omega Red. I do wish Omega Red had more talking and way. He just feels like he's just there. He's just weighing down the group, actually. But essentially, the Doctor is told to take Wolverine out of this chamber that he's in, and then the Doctor's like, "I don't think it's a good idea." And then he just chokes her. The Colossus just straight up just chokes her and says, "Do what I say, or I'm murdering you." Essentially, he basically said, "You're a disposable bitch." So she gets him out, and then Colossus just basically, kind of talks to Wolverine in the same way that Magneto would talk about mutants. Like, you guys just don't understand how to do anything, and you're violent, and you're going to just do this, that, and the third. So he basically just starts kind of attacking Wolverine when he's in this state. And he says, basically, creatures like this, men like this, they know violence, they respect it, because unlike you, men like this know there is no such thing as safe. Every second of existence, there is something or something trying to take from you, and men like this, They know that men like me stand in their way. If you don't crush them, if you don't show them your power, your true power, they will resist. It is inevitable, Doctor. After all, he has done so before, so we will reinforce the lesson. The Winter Soldier's rightful place is under our heel. So he basically just kind of lets that Doctor know, you have a Winter Soldier, but it's under our thumb. You are our slave. Just, man, this Colossus is not the nice Colossus you guys all know. This guy is dementedly insane. No. This guy treats every subordinate like they're disposable. Pretty much, fucking call me crazy, like an actual villain. Pretty sure that this Marvel's missed this for a while. God damn, actual villains. That's crazy. But I really do enjoy Colossus as a villain in the story so far. And then after that, basically, you can tell the Doctor feels some type of way about Wolverine. She does. She created this character. She created this version of Wolverine and engineered him to do all these killings. But you could tell she's. It just happens with female characters all the time. That's just a trope. There's no way a female character can create something like this and feel emotion for the thing. I didn't hate the book. I liked it, but I feel like that's such a trope. There's no way the person has feelings.
He's got the Riz. If anyone has the Riz,
he didn't even speak.
He don't need to speak.
God. And then Colossus doubts that this Wolverine is as effective as he has been, which is weird because he already proved that he could do whatever they needed, but he wants to see it in action for himself again. So he sets up all of these soldiers you saw at the very beginning and pitted them against each other. So at the very beginning, you're probably like, why are all these soldiers in this like cold, snowy forest? It's because he wanted to test out the Wolverine against some of the more like better operatives and soldiers that they had under this group. So that's why they're fighting each other. So then right there, you see that Ultimate Wolverine basically sliced someone's face completely off. Kinda, but it's not really like that. He just sliced into his face. It's weird because the soldier said he sliced his face off, and it's like, not really, just kind of sliced into it. But then again, if you're in the heat of the moment and that kind of thing happens to you, pretty sure the semantics of that doesn't even matter.
He's going through trauma right now, so
they see Wolverine, and the one guy said to hold his fire. Wolverine ends up running out because we come to later on in the book that there's something else that he was doing because there's more soldiers here than the ones that are presented to you, right? So there's one guy, he's like, man, when I was little, I was told of this like forest spirit, and the guy's like, stop believing in myths. This is the Winter Soldier. And he's like, that doesn't exist. And he's like, if you think that was a myth, then these things are not doing what they were doing back in the day. Like these myths they hit different, is what he essentially was trying to say. And then the last shot is that basically Wolverine, it's like that thing that Rorschach said in Watchmen. It's like, you're not locked in here with me. I'm locked in here with you. Something like that, right? Because it kind of feels like that as the final pages hit, where Wolverine's behind them, kind of stalking them. And you see all of these, and you see Wolverine come out of the bushes or the trees. And then you see a slash go on the page. So you can see that probably some of them ended up getting like murdered actually. And then you see a bunch of heads rolling right there. And this camera right here is very important because the soldiers figured out that they were actually pitted against Wolverine earlier in the book as well. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Thought it was very, very, very good. And then the last page ends off with Wolverine realizing he is being recorded to fight these soldiers that are under the Detariat X program. And then he kills out one of the cameras actually. So, and then they get to witness the Ultimate Wolverine, aka the Winter Soldier, tear through all of their armed forces actually.
Finest soldiers.
But I also liked it that the soldiers realized that they were in a trap essentially. They were like, why are we here? And they're like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to take on this guy,
Yeah, gave me Predator vibes.
So anything else you want to mention about this? There was some backstory a little bit later on in the book, but I was like, I just want that later.
I think the beginning professor that the Maker kills is the Weapon X professor, and that's what the Maker did, was he killed him, and that didn't allow Wolverine to go to Weapon X. He didn't escape. He didn't become an X-Man. So then instead, he's now part of Directorate X, which is essentially like a Black Ops Russian government project to weaponize mutants, which is really interesting. And on top of that, I want to know who their telepath is. That's a big question. I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see essentially like a I think he's going to break free eventually, and then he'll go after them. So we're going to get to see Ultimate Wolverine fighting Magic, Colossus, and Omega
Eventually you
Red.
will.
Yeah, I think eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. I can see them doing something where he gets sent out to kill Jean Grey, and she's able to snap him out of it.
Yeah.
I could see them doing something like that, but I'm not 100% sure because I haven't read Ultimate X-Men, so I don't know what X-Men are free right now.
I'll say this book so far for the last 2 issues have some of the coldest ending comic book pages I've seen in a while. Just look at that cold image. You get the slash and you know their heads are all just off, and then you just taking them. And goddamn Marvel, you just get, the book is full of ads. Just you get the intrigue of what's going on. You're like, oh, this is the pool Illuminati. Oh yeah, because I'm really interested in Deadpool and Illuminati. Yeah, fucking hell, Marvel. Then you get, oh goddamn, you know what's good? You know what's something you really might be interested in reading when you're reading Ultimate Wolverine is someone who's not Captain America, which is Sam Wilson. And then the book's over with a bunch of backstory and info. And oh my god, they're like, okay, go read Ultimate Wolverine issue number 3, which is up next, and Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Panther and Ultimate X-Men and the Ultimates. Just Marvel, please stop doing this. Put all those ads you were doing in this book at the very fucking end.
Yeah.
That is
this
too
is not
many.
the 1960s anymore. Put the ads in the back,
Golly, man, the quality control around some of these is just fucking hell, man. But yeah, I'll ask you your closing thoughts on Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's going to keep me into going to 3. It's going to stay on my pull list. I think I'm going to. I'm definitely going to pick up the trade when it finally comes out.
Well, it's going to feel so better in a trade. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to go. I'm going to reread it when it comes out in trade. Like I reread Ultimate Spider-Man when I picked up the trades for Volume 1 and 2. And yeah, I like this one. I want to see where it goes. I want to see who's involved. Where's Magneto? Where's Professor X? We might be seeing, is Deadpool part of the Ultimate Universe anywhere yet? Is he going to pop up in this? I'm interested to see where this is going. Definitely one of the second best Ultimate series, easily.
Yeah, for me, I easily enjoy, at least from what I've read of Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Wolverine so far, I definitely enjoy them more than Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. So it's not to say that they're both bad. It's just, I think these books are just stronger. I think they just have a more better intriguing. There's more depth to them. And there's more just mystery that's more interesting, and pacing's just better in some of these too. And you don't feel like there's a dull moment when reading Ultimate Wolverine and Ultimate Spider-Man compared to reading Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. The only thing I really just had an issue with is just, man, Marvel, get your ads under control. Holy fucking shit.
It breaks up the action really bad. Tense moments that they're trying to build up, and then it's like a 2-page ad. And that 2-page ad completely takes you out of the story because you're like, ooh, look at this awesome Spider-Man art,
God, man. Yeah, thank you, Marvel. You couldn't just make that double page spread at the very freaking end of the book.
Yeah, it was like YouTube ads, just right in the middle of a sentence.
You can't skip them. That's the problem with comics. You gotta just read through that shit. It's there. So that's pretty much how I feel about Ultimate Wolverine issue number 2. I really enjoy it. Definitely taking my pull list. Like the series so far. It has some of the best art at Marvel Comics right now. Some of the best storytelling they're doing right now in these 2 books. So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Peace. All right. One more thing I'd like to get into. EVS is going off on someone.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God. It's so weird. Like, I don't pay attention to him as much as I used to, but, like, I'm always confused at what the hell is Comicsgate? Is Comicsgate his audience now at this point? Because he keeps saying that Comicsgate is larger than his audience. Keep in mind, he can't keep a story straight, so it's always fluctuating. Literally 1 hour, it's one thing, and the next hour, it's the other thing.
There's of course, Comicsgate has broken up quite a bit. War Campaign broke off, new CG, old CG. but there is like a section of CG that you can't really, you won't even know is CG because they don't like wave the flag and all they do is make comic books and just stay quiet. See, Ethan is his own. He's essentially just a big drama farmer who's
Yeah.
creating drama in order to get clicks, super chats, and keep us going. Like I was telling someone the other day on Twitter, I was like, if everyone just stopped, ignored him, he'd probably go away within a year. Like because his audience keeps shrinking the longer his books don't come out. He can't run a campaign because if he tries to, I don't think Indiegogo would let him with 2 late campaigns as it is. Fund My Comics not going to make money for him. So the longer he takes not putting out a book, and the more he does this drama farming stuff, I really see the whole thing dwindling down quite a bit. It seems to be shrinking and breaking up into factions. Like every day you hear more about more comics kings backing out or getting fights, and it doesn't take much to get on Ethan's bad side. You say one bad thing against the group or group movement or whatever they're talking about, or if you defend someone that they're having one of their hate trains on, you can be out in a second. So
oh yeah, that's the thing is, if you're someone that he doesn't like compared to someone that he gives free passes to, because those kings are not leaving. The guys he gives free passes to, they can literally do and say whatever they want. Like, they had that revolt against Kickstarter, but Billy Tucci's on Kickstarter. But he didn't talk to Billy Tucci that way. He talks to every other person that's not him that way because I don't know. He just either respects him more, or he knows that Billy doesn't care what he says to the point where
Billy doesn't need him. Like Billy takes off and tells him to fuck off. He's still making money on She. He's still making money on his name, so he doesn't really need him. So there's certain people who just are just big. Well, I don't know if Billy Tucci's bigger than Ethan or smaller than Ethan, all those lines, but they're big enough where they don't need Ethan. It's like Ethan's not helping them. There's a lot of people who are clinged on to Ethan. Like Ethan's like a big ship, and there's a bunch of people in the lower parts who are trying to feed off of what he brings. So, it's not self-sustaining, especially with the drama farm. Drama farming is always it gives you really fast results, and you can get a huge following base. And if you pull it off right and get the engagement, the negative engagement drama going, you can build a pretty profitable industry off of it. But the downside to it is that pretty soon more people know you for that than what you want them to. Like I argue that EVS could easily now have more people only know him as a drama farmer than know him as a major player in comic books, as in Green Lantern and along those lines. So it corrupts, and you become it after such a long time.
The thing is, that's all you're known for, and that's the thing is, if he tries anything else outside of drama, he just has to be in this constant cycle of drama. That's just all it is. A debate breaks out between Well Read and EVS. I think I had Well Read on my Iron Man podcast, or I had him on the MSK show for a first appearance. I think I did. EVS argues that he has a fan base, but Comicsgate as a movement, in theory, is larger than his fan base. I don't know. I think all that's interchangeable, honestly. I think Comicsgate is a majority of I think his audience and Comicsgate are like one and the same, And I think some of those people that he endorses goes to Mike Barron, Graham Nolan, Aaron Lopresti, Billy Tucci, John Malin, Shane Davis, and those other ones that are there that I can't remember their fucking names because they're irrelevant as hell. Creators just haven't been able to rally a separate base outside of EBS brand, show, legacy, DC fan base because, so I don't even hate this guy really. He's one of those guys that puts up the narrative for drama. I understand what he's saying here. Okay, so what's the best way I can really basically say this? EVS kind of did this thing that Nick Fuentes did, where they're talking about I guess for like nerd spaces, right? They're talking about an extreme controversial thing just for nerd spaces, right? to the point where you're going to get people watching because you're talking about something controversial. Now, is that something people want to listen to and watch? Apparently it is, because the numbers don't lie. People do kind of like watching that to some degree, whether they say that they don't, the numbers kind of show that they do. But not every single person is going to want to go down that road of, I just have to talk about the most extreme thing, or I have no audience. Like, some people just don't want to do that. Like, some guy was like, the reason why some of you people don't have an audience is because you're doing content no one cares about. Well, the problem with that is, like, I don't want to be talking about such controversial shit where it's to the point where I'm only going to be known for that. And do I even care about that? Because I don't really care about super controversial things to the point where I'm going to dedicate all my time and resources to that. Because I just might not like that the same way I just like doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, EVS is known for what you said, drama farming and causing shit constantly. Is that, because come on, I don't want to be known for that. I just don't.
Yeah.
Sorry. But if that's one of the ways to gain an audience, sure. I mean, it kind of worked out for him, I guess. But if you want to be known for that, sure.
He has an audience for his audience base is mixed, but the problem is it's getting more and more negative. When he first left Marvel, his name drawing something could bring in $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, if not more, 10,000 maybe even. I don't know if he's Jim Lee. He wasn't Jim Lee level, but he was definitely up there where he can make a good living just off of signing shit. And he brought that base and that fan base in there, and then he gained onto that base by doing all the drama stuff and the anti-woke stuff and along those lines. It was, the very beginning was a big anti-woke movement, trashing on woke Marvel, woke DC, Disney, and all that stuff. The same stuff that Eric July went after too. Was a lot of pop culture and stuff along those lines. And he built up a pretty big base around that too. And I do understand what he's talking about. Like Malin, if Malin left Comicsgate, he still has a base of people that could keep him going. Billy Tucci doesn't
has that. Billy Tucci has it. I don't think Shane even deserves it. I think Shane's a piece of shit. I think that guy is a terrible fucking human being. Like, fuck that guy.
They all have fan bases that if they left, they could still keep producing comic books. They might take a hit. So I can see where he's talking about Comicsgate is bigger just as his base, but it's like he is Comicsgate though. Like
he does own the trademark.
He owns a trademark. He's the general. That's what everyone looks to him as the leader of Comicsgate. And you'll catch him saying it at times as it is. So it's like, he is Comicsgate, even though Comicsgate does have a lot of, like, not everyone who follows a Comicsgate person's following him. There's some people that don't necessarily even like what he does, but they still follow other creators of Comicsgate.
And that's not a great audience to foster, because these people aren't even reading the books anyway. Even if they go and support the other people he associates with, I don't think all those people read those guys' books anyway. Like, who talks about reading Billy Tucci's books? I know he's known. I know Billy Tucci's a known person, but who talks about reading She's books? I've never heard a single person mention a goddamn thing in She's books, Graham Nolan's books, Shane's. John Malin's kind of got it, but that was because apparently it was so goddamn bad that people just felt the need to speak about it in a certain way. You know? None of these guys' books are ever talked about.
They might have their bubbles of fans who talk about their stuff, but it's not being generally talked about. There's no one's creating anything that's like really shaking up the industry. And that's one thing I found interesting, and maybe it's because I've been more on the collector side of this indie comic sphere instead of being on the reader side. No one's talking about storylines of indie comics. No one's talking about writing in indie comics, at least in the areas where I've been around. And it's one of those things where it's like everything is about either these drama crap or it's about.
That's what it feels like, right? For indie comics, it always feels like about drama.
Bullshit. Yeah. It's like I don't ever hear anyone saying like, "Hey, you've got to check out this, blah 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 story over here because this guy is writing magic." It doesn't seem like the indie sphere is really that interested in quality and talking about the actual process of the books. And like, hey, you find that in manga. Like the manga sphere fans, they love talking about storylines.
Solo leveling. I've never heard of solo leveling. and someone explained to me what solo leveling was because they actually watched it, and they actually, I think it was BS Warren, the other Warren. He explained to me what solo leveling was because he watched it, and other people, they watched it because it's became one of the highest selling mangas because it's actually been able to translate the word of mouth. Like, that's what I had to agree with you on Facebook on. It was like, for indie comics, for as long as I've been in, I guess, the indie comic sphere since like July of 2022 when I bought ISO #1, it feels like for the most part, no one talks about the stories. It's always drama related every single day, 24/7. And then the people that are known for certain titles, not the person, but the people, all they can tell you is that person has that title. Like, even though I like Rini, people, I don't think they've really read Fiendish as much because they only say Rini's just known for Fiendish. They don't talk about what's in Fiendish. You know what I mean? That's always a red flag to me. It's like, I guess in the indie comic space, you get to what Rini is. Like, people know you for a title, or you're known for just being someone that's always in drama. That's it. And I just understand why she don't want to talk to these guys anymore. These guys are fucking weirdos. You guys are just straight up just insufferable fucking dramatic drama queens most of the time. And some of these responses are just so over dramatic for the most part. Like, if someone even says something one of these guys disagree with, they just have a complete meltdown. It's like, are we not allowed to just disagree? Like, not everything has to be a big giant fucking fight, and not everything has to be just you're an echo chamber, you know, but it has to be every time someone says something someone doesn't agree with, it's made to be this big giant fucking thing constantly, every day. It's not, people go, MSK, it's just one time. It's not just one time. You are just living under a rock if you think it's just one time. I wish it was just one time. I wish. That's in a perfect world, but it's not. Well Read said, there was a CG audience outside of Ethan's. Now there isn't. He agrees with me. Sorry you're confused. There might have been at one point, dude. There might have been. There might have been.
Oh, in the heyday, there was. When CG first was rolling in the heyday, before the late books started piling up and the drama and the fracturing and all this, it was rolling pretty strong when it came to like the fans, the audience wanting to buy stuff, and Ethan would bring on little guys, and that was part of the problem, is you had a crew who never made a comic book before doing a Kickstarter and making $20,000.
Do you know what's
and
crazy?
They're just like, oh shit, now
story,
we have to do this.
You know that Dan Fraga drama that ended up happening? And I get that he made, so that guy did some weird thing with that throat goat shit around his kids recording that video. I don't know why this Dan Fraga guy, I never met the guy, never talked to him, but he's another one of these people that hasn't finished a book in 5 years. I don't know why this guy, just because he kind of defected from CG or had this falling out with Ethan, I don't know why this guy's praised either. Not Ethan, I'm talking about Dan Fraga. He hasn't finished a book in 5 years. Why is he propped up in anything in people's minds? That's the same shit they criticize. Also, if you're going to criticize Ethan for having late books, that guy Dan Fraga has a 5-year late book.
Well, Mike S. Miller will go after Ethan on Twitter about his work ethic and all this, and I'm still waiting 4 years for his book. So it's like these guys, that's the thing, is they're not selling comics, they're selling drama. They're selling
their brand of themselves.
They're selling themselves. Yeah. I've watched Ethan's streams. He goes on for 7 to 8 hours sometimes, and he'll bring on someone and just shit talk and trash him and make $500 in super chats. I've watched him do it. The guy's doing this stuff because it gets reaction and he gets money off of it. It's very similar to what you see in political radio and political TV shows, like Bill Maher. Every time a contract comes around, he says something controversial. It ends up on 60 Minutes, and then everyone watches his show. It's just, they got to stay relevant. And if let's say tomorrow nothing goes on, no one's talking with Ethan, he's going to make something happen. He's going to go after somebody. Yeah.
So, or he'll make a tweet and he'll be like, I have to make a trash cast about it. So Well Read said, you still managed to miss the theme of what both Fraga and I are saying, even after posting them. Impressive. The fan base should be rebuilt. It's now full of people like you. I want to rebuild for the people that believes in the cause, not for IBS. Nothing to do with EVS stream. So Well Read, when I had him on for a one-on-one, he said he liked Cyberfrog, and we were talking about the issues that indie comics have, and I mean, he did this thing where I was like, dude, like I don't want to press him because I don't want to make someone say something they don't want to. But it felt like he knew that EVS was a problem, but he refused to say it because he didn't want to potentially get like quote tweeted from him and make like drama backlash out of it. I was like, dude, people don't fulfill books, and Ethan's a big part of that. So Ethan retweeted and said, "You never had a fan base in the first place. Fraga and the Dungeoneers were welcome on to my platform to interact with my fan base. You confused that with Comicsgate. So nothing was destroyed. You had nothing to begin with." I guess you could say that. Two things can be true, but I think he made a big deal out of that Dungeoneers thing way too hard. I mean, this guy, because that was apparently was a party that a group of individuals at Tampa Bay Con went to, and it was like a sex dungeon. And it's like, I know this guy isn't talking shit on people going to a sex dungeon when this guy has a rumor about him that he almost blew someone in the back of a pizza parlor. I know this motherfucker not talking. I know you're not talking shit about people going to sex dungeons.
It's one of the reasons why I imagine Well-Read didn't want to say anything bad, is because if you do, it only takes one tweet, and then Ethan is now your enemy, and it happens quick. Guys like that, you say one thing that goes against what they're doing, or negative, or could be perceived as negative, and they pounce on it, and then you are now gone. So they don't like to be told they're doing it wrong. They don't like to be told that they're ever in the wrong. And Ethan is just...
It's always someone else's fault. They're always angels and perfect in a scenario.
He'll say something crazy, and then like the way he spelled fun the other day, and then just completely play the victim. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I just want people to have fun. It's like, you know exactly what you're doing, dude. And everyone feeding into this is just giving him what he wants. He gets his clicks and attention. Then people watch his next trash cast, and then half of them are just hating on him, and he's collecting super chats because he's...
Because that's the thing. You know how he said the reason why I go off at the Rippaverse is because I think it's low quality and it doesn't improve indie comics. I wonder if he keeps that same energy that he did back in the day for the mainstream that he does now. And people like him do this. People like him do this constantly. It's like, dude... And much as I like Eric July, and much as I like the Rippaverse to a degree, I've reviewed every single one of their books, and I've given my critiques of them too. They're not all perfect, but there's some of them they do sound like they are pretty good. Nothing Eric does will have an impact on the comic book industry. He's just kind of like in his own lane, doing his own thing, which is good. He's making money. He's doing a great job. When all these people just hyper focus on Eric so much, it's like, dude, you are losing the plot. All this focus you guys have for Eric should be directed toward Marvel and DC that do some of the most heinous shit possible. I wonder where was this like consistency with Eric that they hate comic books about what he's apparently doing that's so wrong, when Marvel Comics, if you guys don't know this, didn't even pay Mark Miller for his storyline that they kind of used with Ed Brubaker's Winter Soldier for Winter Soldier and Civil War, the MCU movies. Where's this same energy you guys have for Eric? I don't know why you guys don't have the same energy for like Marvel Comics when they've been doing such horrible shit recently. That leads me to believe none of these guys were really ever comic book fans. They were people that watched other people's videos, took what other people said, thought it was true to some degree, and then just kind of only lived it through that experience. Because the way that people talk about comic books, where they interact with people that talk about comic books more than them and know more than them, these people are just posers. I can tell a poser is someone that doesn't know what they're talking about instantly. If they think what Eric July is doing so bad at the Rippaverse, you better have that same line of fucking consistency for Marvel. I mean, guys, Marvel is paying. People say that Eric only hires people from Brazil. Well, Eric pays them well enough that they're not complaining on social media. They don't get paid enough. Guys, Marvel workers, their artists and writers literally make less than people that work at Starbucks, Burger King, McDonald's, and insert any fast food restaurant you can think of. Don't know why you guys didn't make a big deal about that.
Well,
about that. Also, you're not
the only people that could save the industry are Marvel, DC, and Image. Those are the only three companies that have the power and reach. And Image is like not they can help, but Marvel and DC are who are going to save comics. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan of the artwork in Isom, but
I respect that's the weakest book in terms of art.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of what Eric's done. I mean, he definitely cares about comics, and not only that, issue 1s are for collectors, issue 2s and 3s are for fans, and he's getting good sales on all of his books. Issue 2s are getting good sales. There are some drop-offs, but the drop-offs are expected between 1s and 2s anyways. And so that means there's people reading the books too. And even if they're not, both EVS and Eric, no matter how big they think they get, or even Polito with Lady Death, none of them can really capture the business because they're created a high dollar item product that's made for only one kind of audience. If Eric July was doing scholastic books and getting comic books into June grade schools, then that might add and help out with the comic industry. But he's not that big, and he doesn't need to be. He has an audience, he's building that audience, and he's selling to that audience. And that's exactly what all of us should be striving to do in comic books. EVS has an audience. The EVS uses drama to feed that audience, and it's very hard to maintain. From what I can tell from Eric July, he's trying to go away from the more negative stuff and trying to stay more positive, which other things that I respect. It does, but yeah, I just, it's, the whole thing is ridiculous. The Eric hate is all just manufactured bullshit by EVS.
You would think if people had this strong opinions on comic books, they would be talking about Marvel and DC. You would think they would. You would think that all that is directed at them. Nothing Eric can do can matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, all Eric can do is just make his books and make money. It's really all he can do. Rippaverse isn't going to be, like you said earlier, changing the industry.
No.
See, Well-Read said this. He said CG had a fan base that extended beyond your show. It did at one point. If you watch the documentary, it did. So he's not lying about that. That's no longer the case. You want to make this about personalities. I'm making it about the cause. CG still has a fan base that extends well beyond Ethan's show. Some did. So I'll bring up an example here. There was that one show that one lady did where they had the awards, right? John Malin saw it, got so butthurt, bent out of shape, that he didn't win a fan award on a channel that he didn't even know existed. None of these guys knew this channel existed, but apparently they are CG to the bone, but they don't even know that a channel was diehard CG for many years. She had like 400 subscribers. They bombarded her stream with people to basically troll it, to get the people that they wanted to win. And then she had said something, I forgot what actually ended up happening. She ended up like deleting her channel because something ended up happening that they ended up causing. And it's like, yeah, there was some extension of audience. Like, what's that guy's name? The Australian guy. Fucking hell. Michael Braincroft. Yeah.
Michael Braincroft.
Like, he has an audience where he launches people certain books on. You know, Ethan never really talks about him unless it's in like in a negative way. He never gives that guy any due diligence for kind of like launching indie creators' books and, you know, getting them some backers. But Ethan is like having Katie Did knows nothing about comic books. She knows nothing. All she does is get on her knees, and Ethan puts his cock in her mouth so far to her esophagus to the point where it's down her throat. Like, Katie Did is a fucking loser, a fucking actual fake piece of shit.
I don't follow any of them. I did watch a couple Ethan streams because he was talking about people that I know personally, but it was hard to watch even at those points. And to be honest with you, I still think that if people just ignored him, people that hated him just ignored him, he would lose his grip probably quite rapidly.
I would love to live in that world, but you know that's just not a thing that's going to happen with most people. Most people get so easily just they feel like they have to. It's a human instinct. You feel like you have to do something, say something, feel a certain way, interact in a certain way.
Yeah, CG and people fight, anti-CG and CG fight every day on Twitter. There's some people who are posting 100 tweets a day, and all of them are quote tweets attacking and fighting both the sides. And it's such a colossus waste of time. But yeah, it is a whole industry now of just fighting and debating and having these weird opinions and pissing people off and being rude and
God, because this is the thing is that like even when some people that leave CG do like decently well, he still says backhanded compliments backhanded insults like, well, when you were in CG, your numbers were better. But but Ethan's always talked about, if you leave CG, your numbers will never be the same. So it's always about numbers. If someone is doing well on their own, that's all that should matter. But he'll say things like I mentioned a moment ago, which is like, but in CG, their numbers were higher. And it's like, so that proves that they don't need you. Some people don't need you. That's what he's really mad about.
Like that. He doesn't like
wants people dependent on him.
Well, he doesn't want people leaving. He doesn't want to think that, that people like that people don't need him. And if you get on his bad side, well, that's one thing why you can't trust his reviews on shit, because if he likes you,
trash.
Well, like, if he likes you, then it's great.
That's the best thing ever. He doesn't like you.
Fast forward a week and you say something to piss him off. Well, now you're trash and everything you do is trash. And then he makes comments about how gay you are in weird passive aggressive ways. And it's like, dude, you know, the artwork didn't change. The story didn't change from a week ago. The only thing that changed is they pissed you off now. And so now you're going to shit on them. Like, it's such a childish bullshit. The whole thing is.
In other words, I've been able to maintain Comicsgate as a cause and with an audience. Others haven't been able to do so. Some did. You just didn't like that.
Well, there's no people cause. That did.
There's also Comicsgate's a lost cause at this point anyway. The mainstream, it's crazy. I don't agree with the mainstream pretty much almost anything anymore. But even they start talking about Comicsgate because they knew that it's just a fucking waste of time, honestly.
Oh, if you become Comicsgate, you can pretty much
guarantee you're backlisted.
Guaranteed you're now no longer going to be working on anywhere above, local, like independent publishers. You'll never work for Image. You'll never work for IDW. You'll never work for Marvel or DC until those companies change. As of right now, if you are Comicsgate, you have now been blacklisted from any kind of major deal. Like even some cons, depending on what level of Comicsgate you are, won't allow you to go there. If you're one of those quiet Comicsgaters that do it and no one knows they're Comicsgate, then you might get into cons and stuff and not have as many problems. But the problem is you're dealing with psychopaths on both sides, and you have SJW types that will go through your entire Twitter history for like 8 hours, scouring through to find some hashtag you did 12 years ago, and then they'll bring it up to all their friends, and then you get blacklisted. It's just you're dealing with psychopaths and cult members that are fighting each other.
Yeah, people that are in CG are just in cults. Yeah, I mean, JDA's been bugging the fuck out recently. This guy's been going wackadoo. But he says, I don't think it's much of a cause that stands for anything, nor the same audience at this point. The ones who cared about the cause have gone to places like Archaven. John, I guess, sure. He's okay, buddy. I guess.
I don't even know what Archaven is.
I don't either, but it's just what people do. They're like, no, but I do the better thing. No, you don't, because no one knows what the fuck that is. God, man. So I love how this guy is like, you're retarded when he's like literally the biggest EVS cocksucker on this fucking planet, but it's okay. And there was the last one we'll go over because he says Comicsgate is no longer a cause. The audience is only there because they're fans of you, Shane, John, and your content. But that's how things have kind of extended, though. I understand what he's saying here, but that's kind of how most of these brands have extended to. Most people now, not even just with this, are fans of the person doing the shit than the actual shit itself. Yeah. That's not just a Comicsgate thing. That's just a thing in everything now. But I see his point. This guy's like, Comicsgate is no longer a cause. What does that even mean? These people always have such cognitive dissonance. What's crazy is you know what he means. You just have to, people just bug me when they say this. They just have to say something even though they know the answer because they're just retarded. So exactly.
The truth is too is Comicsgate was never a cause. Like
it was never really a thing either.
It was for, like, don't get me wrong, like the founders of Comicsgate thought they were fighting some good fight, but it never came to fruition. And then once EVS got involved, it just slowly kind of mutated into EVS's PR machine, which he now uses to drum up super chats and all that, sell his art, sell art on eBay and shit along those lines. So it's no long. It's never was really a cause. It was to some guys that they felt like they were in, but they weren't changing the industry. They weren't helping anything. They didn't help the industry at all. They didn't grow it. They didn't slow down the slow progression that we're on now to the point where we don't know where the bottom's going to be for this people dropping left and right. They didn't do any of that, and if anything, they hurt us with all their late books and bullshit. So it's just
because this guy's right here is like, they call it grinding for a reason. There's many people that this is such a tone deaf. That's retarded. Such a tone deaf argument. Does this imply that people aren't grinding already? Because that's what this is implying. You need to keep doing it. Well, no shit. You have to just do it in general. You fucking dumb retard. People are already doing that. What people generally got mad at EVS for was that he would not highlight as many other people. Now, this is one thing I don't really like agreeing with that guy. There's one thing that I do agree with him on. I understand what he's saying when it comes to smaller creators getting jealous. That happens a lot. I've been in the YouTube space for literally at this point, at the end of this year, when we probably do a show on that time frame, I've been doing this for 10 years. Smaller creators, they do what he is saying. They do. And it's, I don't even like agreeing with that guy, but I understand what he's saying, though. Just because he doesn't highlight you doesn't mean your campaign is less valuable and all that other stuff. People want it to be highlighted because it'll get them more backers, potentially from like his audience, right?
If EVS backs it, you could be getting 10 grand.
Yeah, and I understand what he was saying there, even to be fair to him. Like, you help some smaller people out, but if you don't help a certain smaller person that another group likes, and they feel like you just betrayed them or you don't like them, I do agree with. That I fully understand. There's some smaller creators out there that are just fucking just the most vile, jealous pieces of shit like ever. But
well, you should never expect someone else to help you succeed. If the product in your work can't succeed on its own,
you probably just suck ass.
You just well then get a better product and get better.
Or maybe it's just not your time. Maybe you just need to, because sometimes people want this like instant success so much, and it's like, guys, if you want to come up to succeed, it's got to be, you got to put in the work. Like, I'm not saying that you haven't been already putting in work. I'm just saying, like, because that's the thing that I did agree with Ethan on. If a person like Ethan has to basically highlight your campaign to the point where you get seen, it's like, come on, man, that's artificial boosting. That means the campaign isn't good on its own. To thrive on its own, you need someone else's constant help. And it's like, I mean, you can't survive on your own. And that means we're already in some kind of jerk off world where I have to help you constantly because you're not good enough to stand on your own. Some people can, but if that's the kind of thing that is happening, I can see why jealousy gets brought up, because other people feel like they deserve it more than the other guy. I mean, maybe he's highlighting. That's why you should never do it, though. That's Ethan's problem. He should stop highlighting certain smaller people in general. Highlight only a select very few. That's it, because that's always what's going to happen. But he's so retarded, he doesn't think about these things, so that's why it's always happening.
If Ethan cared about comics, he would be doing shows where he, like, as a professional, he's a pro, takes a comics gator comic that he likes and actually breaks it down and reviews it and gives them a thorough review and then shows that to the audience. Like, if EVS is like, I'm only going to show you books that I've read that I like, then that helps improve comics in a way, because he's lifting up talented voices and what he feels, instead of just kind of like, if you say the right things to him, or if you defend him on Twitter the right way, then you'll get onto his show. Then he'll just say your book is good without even looking at it, and then hopefully 300.
That there's bias right there. The thing that he does with his friend, because for other people he'll just go full in on them, but if it's one that he likes, it's crazy how he says that he's not, like, he pretends to be not biased, and it's like, dude, he's never reviewed like Godlike from John Malin. He's never reviewed Starlight Cats from Shane. He's reviewed one book from Eric Weathers, who was his letterer, but he said it was. I would agree with him. That book was good. I read that one. That one actually is good. But that's like fucking what? That's one that I like. One book. It's like he'll never review their books the same way he does for the people, because he knows that would cause some rifts. You know how Shane's wife was like, when Shane lost his YouTube channel, his wife was like, could we just survive? Could we just go one day without drama? And it's like, lady, you were on the stream with your husband, who is a drama farmer, and Ethan. Are you stupid? This is why women opinions don't mean shit.
Plus, indie comic creators are sensitive as fuck. So, like, I don't want to review indie comics. And if I would rather highlight. That's what I always said. Like, I'll tell you what books I like, and I'll tell you why I like them, but I'm not going to get into critiques where I'm critiquing about art. Because even if you are correct, they're good. It's not going to end well, and then before you know it, they're going to be like, "Well, who the fuck are you, Lunchbox Warren, with your non-selling comic book and $800 Kickstarter?" Which is all true. I can't deny that, but that doesn't mean that the art in your book isn't bad. So yeah, I just stay away from. I don't blame him too much for that. I just wish, like, I don't know. I don't agree with the whole elevating other voices. Like, no, do it on your own or don't do it at all.
Yeah,
I would love
the
Eric
elevating
July to
voices
hold up my book.
argument. Because that's the thing, the elevating voices thing. I get what people are saying. That's that saying the tide and boat and all that one. The problem with it is that people that feel like they deserve it more and they're deserving of your attention are now going to become little. I shit you not, people. I've been around enough small people, bitter, angry, jealous bitches.
It's going to cause a lot of problems.
Clownfish TV doesn't have these issues because they don't do that. They just promote their own stuff and they work on their own thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't highlight a friend's campaign, but know this: when you do that, there's going to be people out there that are in your circle that feel like they should have deserved that spotlight, and then they're going to be mad at you. That's just what happens, honestly. Or they feel like it's never good enough. Like, even if you do promote multiple people, because I did it, I promoted multiple people on these shows. I never got any recognition for that at all. I'm not saying I needed it, but never was tagged and never was really referenced as someone that was promoting indie stuff. And it's like, all right, cool. That's how you feel. It feels like it's a clique that was already formed, and it feels like I'm just coming in too late to the point where it's not going to matter, you know?
And if you look at the people who are complaining like that, it's usually the people that will never admit that there's problems with their book. They'll be the kind of people who go, my book is perfect, and it's just the only reason why I'm not rich and famous is because not enough people have seen it, and the reason why I'm mad at you, Eric July or EVS, is because you guys haven't shown my book off. And it's like, that's a completely wrong attitude if you want to grow as an artist, to be just thinking that your work is perfect. You should be the biggest critic of your own work. And you should never expect someone who's built an audience, whether you like them or not, whether they're a hate monger or not, and whether they built an audience and they sell to that audience. So it's like, you can't, you can't, it's, you gotta stay away from that. I didn't agree with it when they said it about Eric. I don't agree with it when they say about EVS. I don't need you guys to do my book, and if my book isn't good enough to sell, I'll just work on making it good enough to sell.
Yeah, because Ethan laid it out in this tweet. You never had a fan base in the first place. You confused that with Comicsgate, so nothing was destroyed. You had nothing to begin with. It's crazy. I don't know why you guys even choose to associate with someone like that anyway. It just sounds like an unpleasant person to be around, whether it be content, whether it be just in real life too. Because keep in mind, for as much as we shit on DC Comics or all their bad ideas over the years, they knew the right thing to do was fire that guy. Imagine how insufferable that guy must have been around people. Just imagine that. How insufferable that piece of shit used to be around people. Wasn't fired over politics. Probably fired because he's fat as hell. Probably need to lose weight. That's why he was fired. Good Lord. It's like, I got let go of DC. What was he really let go of DC for? Being chronically
I would imagine not being able to keep on fucking time.
That was number one thing. Chronically late and chronically late on turning pages in. Gee, I wonder what's his issue currently with all these many years of these campaigns. I wonder why. Huh. Takes a science board for me to break it down. Wait, he was chronically late on turning in pages at DC, and he's chronically late on campaigns that he runs himself. I'm like Batman. I'm like a great detective. I'm putting it all together. Oh, wait, it's probably fire because he was late constantly. Yeah, because in the comic book industry world, you have to be putting shit out on time. If you don't like the pay you're going to get, sure, I agree with Shane. You're probably going to get paid more on the indie scene if you reach that upper echelon for your work. But keep in mind, a lot of people, guys, aren't going to reach that upper echelon. It's not going to happen. I don't know what people think here in the scene where just because you're doing a comic book doesn't mean you're going to be getting all this engagement and all these people. It's like, guys, everyone's trying to make their own thing and have it pop off in their own way. Everyone's doing it. So
just because you put in thousands of hours of work, just because you're dedicated, just because you're passionate, just because you love the story, doesn't mean that other people are going to love it. Doesn't mean it's going to be good. And even if it is good, it doesn't mean that it's going to sell. So there's a lot of factors in there, a lot of luck. And the hard work only gets you to a point where you can get a chance to get lucky. And it's took a lot of self-reflection to keep me going, because it's like, if I was in one of those situations where it's like, I know my book is great and I'm pissed off at all you guys for not promoting it and blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have been able to last doing this shit. And you have to do it because you love it. And you have to do it to get better at it, especially if you're doing art and writing. Along those lines, you need to be working to get better, and you can't just say this product is great because I like it, because it's a whatever, you know.
Yeah, and some people say that they even like a product just because their friends are doing it without even reading the book, even when they do get the book. It's like you can't. It's so hard to trust when things are certain. Like, it's so hard to trust certain things said in this kind of scene. It's just you can tell there's disingenuous bias going on in such a level. It's just ridiculous. But last thing you want to say before we head out, because we will not be seeing each other until at least the 18th or the 23rd.
I know. Take care of yourself, man, and I hope you have a good time at the meetup. And I'll be posting. I'll be making videos on my cell phone the whole time at Port Angeles. And then when I get back, I'm going to do some little bit of edits and then pop them up on TikTok and on YouTube and do the whole trip. And it'll be cool to finally get back down here and do some more reviews with you, man. But until then, take care of yourself, and I hope you have fun.
Yeah, same to you, man. Hopefully you're safe out there in LA, because you know how fucking crazy that is out there from all those things you've heard with LA. So definitely when the event's over, I will say this: go to your hotel and lock yourself in and just order.
No, I'm going to Port Angeles, not Los Angeles. So.
Oh God. Woo.
I'm going to a small, bigger port town close to Seattle. No, I'm not going to Los Angeles.
God. Well, I mean, we've heard the things with like how Teslas and all that shit. I would say is go back to your hotel room and just order out if you need to be there. Holy shit. Don't invite no random girls over. But if you need to, just you can bring over some, just call one over. But yeah, guys, Warren's, he has to work tomorrow, so we won't have our Friday show. So I'll be just streaming League. Oh no, I don't have League. What am I talking about? Oh my God, I fucking have the one-on-one with Alexander Trapp. So I'll probably just have that earlier in the day. So I think I have that set up. So I'll just have that set up for tomorrow. I have the one-on-one with Alexander, so that kind of covers it for this Friday. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. Hopefully Warren will have fun on his trip to his Comic-Con convention. Hopefully he gets a lot of fans for Adventures of Sig and Joe. Hopefully he gets a lot more people buying the books as well. So yeah, have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you guys later.